It was very dry. It didn't matter which way you went or where you looked. The whole countryside was extremely dry, tinder dry. And the lightning just kept coming. So it was on the cards we were going to get a decent fire come through, and we did.
An emergency warning was issued this afternoon over the Hudson Fire burning northwest of Walgett. Strengthening winds saw an increase in erratic fire behaviour bearing down on the Glengarry village. Residents were told just before 3 p.m. to leave their properties and head for safety at Lightning Ridge.
On the Tuesday, a Section 44 was declared, and my role there was to go out there as the incident controller and join up with the local effort and the additional responding resources to that area to help manage that overall complex of fires that were in both the Walgett and the Berowra LGAs. And obviously the main fire of concern was the Hudson Fire, and the Hudson Fire was obviously impacting on a number of rural properties and also the open mining community of Glengarry.
The local crews, they did a fantastic amount of work. They worked very, very hard. I was immensely proud of them, actually. Sorry. We were on the front line probably for about 12 days in total. And then thankfully the strike team arrived to relieve us, which was we were so grateful for.
As part of their tasking for the day, specifically the Mid-Coast team were assigned to working in the Glengarry area, working on the perimeter of the fire. And the fire had actually impacted on the community the day before and was actually through the community. So they were working within that community on the edge of the fire, and their task was to extinguish any active edge there and try and hold that fire line where it was and prevent it going any further and causing any further damage and impact to property in that area. It was probably just before 5 o'clock in the afternoon when obviously we received the emergency call advising of the tree fall incident and sadly critical injuries to one of our firefighters, being Leo. The work of the team then was absolutely nothing short of fantastic, to be honest. The local Mid-Coast strike team was in the area. They all mobilised to where Leo and the crews were that were directly impacted by the tree and provided immediate support. There were people that, without regard for their own safety, worked in the dangerous area immediately surrounding the tree, where there was still further risk of tree fall in that area, specifically to provide advanced resuscitation care of Leo and manage his critical injuries.
I came across the incident after Leo had been hit, and the medics were working on him feverishly, but unfortunately, as we know, he didn't survive. Yeah, it's not something you ever want to see on a fireground. You know, I won't forget the faces of his crew.
There was the option for the Mid-Coast strike team to go home, but we didn't want to force that on them, and we wanted them to decide what they wanted to do. There was then a process, obviously, where they spoke about what they wanted to do as a team, and importantly, they also considered what they thought Leo would want them to do. So they eventually came to the decision that they would stay and continue their deployment in support of the community and in honour of Leo.
I commend them on doing that. I'm sure Leo, that's exactly what he wanted. As the captain of their brigade, I'm sure he would have been wholly behind it. He would have been the first one to probably put his hand up and do the same. The camaraderie between firefighters is endless. You know, we saw that when they came over, the type of people that they were. They blended in with us very easily. They didn't care if we were filthy dirty from, you know, our uniforms were wrecked and buggered, and we were tired and a bit rough around the edges, and yeah, they didn't care. They just, anything that they could do.
I'd like to say thank you for coming to help. I really would, from the bottom of my heart.